Why do you think you're broke? We can look at the Dow chart here over the last 5 years. This is a 5-year chart from 2016 to 2018. We've risen 44 to 45%. That's a major move in the Dow. The S&P and the NASDAQ followed along. But most people are just don't have any disposable income. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is why I believe most people are broke. We have an Atlantic article here that's telling us the secret shame of the middle class Americans. And what they're saying is that nearly half of Americans, 50%, would have trouble finding $400 to pay for an emergency. Right? What would an emergency be? Well, your car could break down. You could have a relative sick in another state that you might need to get there. So that's really scary news. It's alarming, actually, for the news media to be reporting that 50% of Americans could not come up with $400. So what's causing this? They also say, here's CNBC on January 9th, 2019, that's saying the government shutdown spotlights a bigger issue. Well, the issue is 78% of U.S. workers are living paycheck to paycheck. 78% are living paycheck to paycheck. That's some seriously bad news, folks. That's telling us that if they got sick, missed a couple of days' work, they could end up on the streets. You know what I'm saying? They could fall behind. If they don't end up on the streets, they could fall way behind, and they would be feeling that crunch. There's a lot of animosity out there. I feel like I feel it sometimes when you go to town. You look into people's faces and their eyes, and there's certain things they've got just scant items in their buggies at the grocery market, or they're at a store, and you can tell they want other things, but you can also see that they don't have the money. So it's really not good news when we start talking about this great American economy, where we're at 78% of U.S. workers live paycheck to paycheck. And this is not something that's just happened recently. This is something that they've been, driving us into the dirt for many decades now. So why is it? Well, I say it's because of taxes is why you don't have any money, is a big reason. A lot of people can say, well, you made the wrong housing choice. You bought into an area to where you really can't afford the fees or the HAO monies that you're due every year, or maybe you should downsize on your car. Well, that's not a bad thing. Could be you did overspend. You reached out and went somewhere you shouldn't be. It could be that you made the wrong job choice, but I don't agree with that either. Some of us do make wrong job choices, and some of us, try to live on, champagne life on a beer budget. But I think that most of Americans are in a bind because of regulation and taxes. I think that taxes takes up the most of our money, our disposable income, and leaves us with just the scant amount to survive on. So we're going to look at California. We got 50 states. We're just going to look at some news out of California here recently. And in this clip, you're going to see where they're talking about raising taxes.
PIX5's Phil Matier on Sacramento wanting to take a look at your odometer. Phil?
Blue started charging drivers for every mile they drive.
Yeah, the state says it needs more money for road repairs, and the gas tax just isn't cutting it. Kate?
All right, so that's out of California. They're talking about, well, they need to start taxing you on the amount of miles that you drive. If you go to visit somebody for a holiday, or if you go to the mall because you did have a little extra income, right? You need that pair of shoes, or you want a new tire or tires put on your car. So now they've come up with a proposal to where they're going to be not only as if you have any personal rights or privacy left, they're going to be looking at your odometer, and they can do that easily with today's cars. They're with all the software in it, but that's not the point. The point is that they're going for more money, and they're going to get it through the miles that you drive. So what kind of money are they making now? Why do they need to raise this tax? Well, let's see here. The statistics portal, or Statista, shows us numbers from 2016 on the state of California. We can see right here right here, that there are 26,199,436 drivers in the state of California. That's a lot of drivers. And they're saying that they want to raise these taxes or level taxes on miles driven because they can't keep up with the infrastructure, potholes and bridges. So now we're going to go to Retirement Living Income Center. This website offers you, it's going to give you information on gasoline taxes, cigarette taxes, personal income tax, property taxes in any state or in our states, to where you can evaluate if that's someplace you want to live because of taxes. So we can see here in the highlighted area, the gasoline tax is 60.1 cents per gallon in the state of California. 60.1 cents a gallon. And we just went over that they have 199,436 drivers. So if all these Californians that they want to raise taxes on or tax their mileage, if they just bought 1 gallon of gas a year, it would come up to $15,981,655.96. That's 1 gallon. Folks, we all know that California's drivers are driving a lot more than that. Look around you, everybody's driving a lot. Okay, that's how we get to school and back. It's how we get back and forth to work. It's how we get our business done. It's how we go to town and support this economy. So what are they doing with this money? What are they doing with this money? That is 60.1 cents a gallon charge that they have to turn around and level taxes on the mileage driven. That's insanity. So what else is happening out there? This is just one state. All right, there's many other states that are hurting as well. California's Gavin Newsom proposes a tax on drinking water in his first budget. Now, this is something that everybody needs. This is a necessity. We've got to have drinking water. We need it to drink. We need it to bathe. We need it to grow our crops. And they've got plenty of it in California. They're just not releasing it because of a smelt. So they're making the farmers and everybody else suffer. But they can always come around and raise taxes, you see, and still have their way. They get the cake and eat it too. So what's really astounding is if you go down into this article, he's talking about it's going to be an ongoing, sustainable funding source. Now, how is that sustainable? It's not sustainable to the 78% of people that are living paycheck to paycheck. It's not sustainable to the 50% of people that can't come up with $400 in an emergency. Who is this sustainable for? It's outrageous. And what I'm trying to tell you is the reason why you're living paycheck to paycheck, or you can't afford anything, is because you are a serf to your state and local and federal governments. You go out, you do all the labor, and they show up and they take the cream of the milk. So we got Gavin Newsom. So what else was going on in California? Over what have they been discussing? Well, they wanted to tax your text messages. And here's why. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter why. It's another tax. It's a tax that you can't afford, that you don't want to have to pay, and I don't either. Of course, I don't live in California. God gave some of us more brains than others. If you got some, you'd leave now. So say what you want. Anyway, California wants to tax everything. That's what your government officials do. They sit back and they say, hey, let's help the people. No, you're wrong if you think that. It's not about helping you. It's about helping themselves. Taxation, taxation, taxation. Maybe that'll help you understand why most Americans are on the brink of poverty.